Ah, Smart Water, now in a sleek can.
This feels cool, literally.
Perfect for social gatherings and on the go.
Should I start wearing turtlenecks?
One sip at a time, friend. Smart Water cans, for those with a taste for taste. Get yours today.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Mum was like the type of person, she'd give you her shirt off your back, and like, you know, if you were a stranger, she'd go out of her way to make sure you were safe or you were okay. And she did a lot of community work as well.
Welcome back to Connect with Jonathan Mark. We have a returning guest, actually our returning Australian guest. This case is Traie Olsen, and we actually recorded this back in late February, I think February 24th to be exact. But guys, they recorded this at 4 a.m. their time because they wanted to share updates. Now, another big, I think, key piece I want you guys to know is when I do this show and I bring these families on, I do not want you to think, and I don't do this, where I bring their story on and I don't help them after. Every episode, I always offer to them, email me separately and let's kind of get at this privately. Well, I've had numerous readings and they will tell you that the readings that we had off camera, off show, helped them move this case along in massive ways. So guys, sit back, relax, and listen to the show.
So since my last conversation with you, Jonathan, on this podcast, I felt a strong pull to revisit our mother's missing person case and raise awareness by resharing her official profile on social media. During that search, I came across something deeply unsettling. There was no official missing persons profile ever registered for her with the National Missing Persons Coordination Centre. The only official record ever made public was a Queensland Police Service Missing Persons Media Report. When I contacted the team at the Coordination Centre directly, I was informed that once a person has been missing for more than 3 months, their case should be classified as a long-term missing person. At that point, it was standard for local police to submit a profile and recent photo for inclusion in the National Register. The fact that that had not ever been done was deeply concerning to the team I spoke with. Thankfully, they responded with urgency and took the necessary steps to have the process initiated on my behalf. This discovery not only raised questions about how our mum's case has been handled over the years, it also reignited my commitment to seek the truth, to fight for her visibility, and to ensure she receives the recognition and dignity every missing person deserves. Shortly after, my sister and I had a private reading with you. That session brought us a sense of clarity we've been searching for. You validated many of the thoughts, instincts, and quiet truths that we carried for years and helped connect pieces to the story that had long been missing. It was a powerful and grounding, emotionally affirming experience, one that was renewed our strength with purpose, continuing this journey. Our mum deserves more than the silence. She deserves answers and the justice.
I remember our last reading too. You know, you were very kind and you sent over the coroner's report, which I want to get into. And we spoke a lot about, listen, there's corruption no matter where you go. I feel like whether it's in the United States or in Australia, I think there's some form of corruption when it comes. I think the thing that I was like deeply concerned about, I probably emphasized this a lot to you because I was so maybe under the weather when I was doing it and my mind was just going like firing off about 100 different things. When they were tapping the United States and tapping Australia, I felt like there was some type of connection, and not a connection where you and I are speaking or, you know, people do come to the Australia and Australians do come to the United States, maybe to visit, see family, whatever the case is. I saw someone from America was involved in your mom's case. And we don't need to go into further detail about that because that's more private about things. But I felt like that was also deeply concerning as well too. And there was just like a lot of things I remember from that reading when I would like kind of think back to. And I was just, it's kind of one of those where you scratch your head and you're like, how did this kind of like happen from like point A to point B? Really what I'm getting to is like, if law enforcement, it doesn't matter again if it's in Australia or United States, if the law enforcement community was working on a case and they kind of dropped the ball on it. And by dropping the ball, it was a chosen ball drop. It wasn't like things went through the cracks and it just unfortunately like stuff happened. This seemed like it was a very chosen ball drop. Like someone purposely like wanted to expedite the process for your mom's case. And I think a lot of people also don't know this too, which I wanted to go towards, and you guys can talk more about this, but the finding of the clothing item. You remember when I was describing to you during the reading about the location, when I was trying to get to the location, and then there was a piece of your mom's item that was found like away from the car?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's important for people to know that as well too. When I was describing the location, you're like, wait a minute, boom, like this equals this, whatever. So like, I just want people to hear that because that also gave me clarity a lot about your mom's case too, with the validity of that.
So with that, the piece of, well, the item that was found, it was a towel and it was found way beyond where the car was. So that kind of redirected their search completely away from the car, and nothing, on my opinion and in my thoughts, nothing was ever really done in the location of where Mum's car was found. Yes, they searched the car, but nothing beyond that. So they didn't go in, the bushland, didn't do any of that. So yeah, definitely that the piece of clothing that was confirmed hers, or the towel.
And I just want to remind people too, like when they found your mom's car, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, nothing was really moved, right? Like everything was kind of like in place. Like there wasn't like broken windows. There wasn't like any sign of distress in the car, right? Like it was just car parked door and gone, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah. And I also want people to know this too, that, and again, I just want to do like a recap for them a little bit. I'm sure they remember, but your mom went to a gas station, and from the gas station, it's weird because the video surveillance camera, like the CCTV, kind of watches her pull in and then doesn't watch her pull out. It's like a very weird, I guess you could say like someone like altered the video potentially, because it's just weird that you can watch someone pull into a spot, but then all of a sudden it's like the car disappears and she disappears. It's like a skip over time, essentially. It's like skips over probably like a time. And I remember talking about the reading too and saying that in that video, from what your mom was showing to me, a car did pull up behind. It's like being stalked a little bit. It wasn't like she was alone. Like a car stalked and then they both disappeared. It wasn't just one car. They both were gone. Yeah. So if you could explain a little bit of that, because I think people should know that, because again, that's a very big piece of a case that I think is being looked potentially, because if they're not able to look at the license plate of the car, or just like in general speaking, locating the car, locating the person, whatever, that's a huge piece that's like missing, and that could really narrow down a search pool of people for like suspects. So I would love for you guys to share that too.
Initially, Mum had been on her way. I'm not sure what the process was, but we'd later found out that she had been in some sort of dispute with a taxi driver at lights, and then he had then followed her for some time, which then they pulled into the 7-Eleven, and that's when you can see the taxi driver pull in behind her. She's fueling up her car. They kind of get in some sort of like altercation, verbal altercation, and that's when you can see that Mum walks over to the counter, she walks back to her car, but there's no other visuals ever shown. And then later he continues to follow her out of the 7-Eleven for some time and then returns back to duties as a taxi driver.
Like, to me, that's like a huge missing piece, at least from my perspective, just because like you guys are doing such a great job of kind of figuring out like the larger picture, I think, at hand. I think you guys kind of were, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, so don't let me put words in your mouth even slightly, but your mom's case was just moved along so fast that it probably was like a whirlwind. So it was probably very hard to kind of like grab onto something and explore something because everything was being thrown at you so fast. And it's like, how can you like grab onto something? And I think another interesting piece, at least again, from my perspective, I'm not going to name names or anything, but it's kind of like when it's like a group of people you hang out with like pretty often and that you potentially live in the same quarters of someone, like whether it's a home, apartment. It's interesting because when I just remember doing the reading, your mom kept pointing like lines around, being like, that person knows that person, and that person knows that person, and that person knows that person, and everything. Eventually, what she showed in my head became a circle where everyone knew everyone. So it was like a big circle. And she was saying that those people were not really even spoken to or questioned in a way that was like, not an interrogation, so I don't want to say that, but more so just like finding out information. They kind of just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, so your mom, and when she always does come through, there's always like a sense of urgency from her perspective that there's like the overarching, aside from the case, is that she's at peace. And it's just, it's upsetting because she's also shown this to me too, that you put yourself in, again, group of friends, group of people, whatever it is, right? It's hard to break a cycle of something if you're constantly in it 24/7. So if you're around people that are doing things and she's bettering herself, it's hard, and you may have like an addiction problem, whatever it is, it's hard to break away if they're constantly doing it in front of you. Then you're just like, you're just being tempted 24/7. So like she's also saying to me too that it's something similar to that as well. It's kind of like if you want to pull away from something and they're like, no, you're staying where we want you to stay. And she's like, no. And then it becomes like, again, like a larger thing. And I think people need to know that too, that your mom was trying to better herself.
And I think that's the main thing for me that hasn't sat right the whole time throughout the investigation and everything is things that we had shown to the police and stuff, like private messages of hers. They ensured us that none of that would be released or, like her character wouldn't be spoken about in that light. And that's the ball they went with. Like they completely just disregarded everything they'd said to us and painted her in that light, which also didn't help the fact that they brushed it off so quickly because like in Australia, I'm not sure if you're aware of our culture and stuff, but the Indigenous people are quite stereotyped. And I guess it comes with people that use as well, you're quick to stereotype and not think about, well, what led them down that path. So, yeah, we never had a chance to show mum as a person. Like that was taken away from us as well.
Yeah, no, so I didn't know that. I've never been to Australia, so I've never I didn't know any of that, but that's a shame. That's definitely a shame. But like, what's interesting is that also came through, not in that way, obviously, in those words, but it definitely came through that her words or what she showed in my head is being viewed less than like a normal person.
Mum was like the type of person, she'd give you her shirt off your back and like, if you were a stranger, she'd go out of her way to make sure you were safe or you were okay. And she did a lot of community work as well. Like that was her career path. So it was quite hurtful and disheartening that they painted her in that light. And I knew that wouldn't sit well with mum. And that's sort of our driving force as to why we continue and we're pushing so hard, because with Indigenous women especially, like it's just brushed under the carpet.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pet injury is an additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
I also want you guys to talk about the coroner's report if you can, because I think that's very important for people just to, like, I want them to get the full picture. And I think they are getting like the full picture of who your mom was, kind of what happened and everything, because your mom is an amazing person. I personally think from doing the readings and stuff privately and on here or whatever, she was a misunderstood person. She was a good person, but a misunderstood person. And for her, it's kind of like when someone's looking for love. And you know the quote, like, people look for love sometimes in the wrong places. Like, I feel like that's kind of what it was with her. She just wanted to, whether it was with you guys or with a group of people, like friends or whoever, she seemed like that type of person, yes, to give the shirt off her back, to always be there for people, like no questions asked. So yeah, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about the coroner's report. And I think people would too.
Yeah, so with the coroner's report, we found out a lot of, just information that wasn't passed on throughout the investigation. So when the taxi driver had followed Mum, they had known previously that he had followed her all the way to 7-Eleven from who knows where, and then followed her out of 7-Eleven until he no longer could, because he then got a job while he was working. So that was never communicated to us. There was a lot of information that we read in the coroner's report that wasn't communicated to us. And it kind of like solidified the narrative that was kind of driven about the case and the awareness with Mum that she was just, troubled with substance, had, connections with people that,
just another
relationships
user
broke down. Yeah,
Yeah.
the relationships broke down and she's just gone missing, or she's just gone on her own will. And also finding out that certain key pieces and elements that were provided to the police were not put forward to the coroner's report to even look over, to even find out what, if there was truth to it, if things could have happened because of these certain relationships. It was never, from what I read, never taken in consideration, which was very disappointing.
When you come from a small area, like a small community, like people know everyone. And I think that that's worldwide. I think worldwide, if you come from an area that's a smaller community, you're going to know the local police department. You're going to know the local gas station attendant. You're going to know the local supermarket employee. It doesn't really matter. What I'm trying to get at is that everyone knew everyone and everyone is choosing to stay silent. Like, that's my point. It's not like you're living in it's not like you're living in Manhattan, like a big metropolitan area where like there's 8 million people in an 8-mile radius. It's really not like that. So that's what your mom was coming through to me about being, it was a very hard thing when she thought the community would back her in some type of way, just for someone just to say something, essentially. It doesn't have to be such a large piece of information. It could really just be something to help the case kind of move in a forward direction from the community. So I think that's also important to note for people as well, is that your area, I'm assuming from what she was showing to me and what she's showing to me, is people know everyone, or people probably know everyone or know of.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like the town she was living in, it is a quite close community in a sense, I guess. Like, yeah, you've got majority of the people have lived there all their lives.
Right.
So, yeah.
Because it seemed to me from what you were showing, like I'm saying, it's just like you could really if you need to talk to a police officer, someone probably knows their personal phone number or where they live in that community. So it's pretty easy to talk to a bartender, to talk to the restaurant owner. It's like, that's kind of what she's just showing to me. And again, that's also what she's saying. It's like the way that she put it in my mind was, and again, this is just a comparison of what she put in my mind. Kind of like surfer community, like relaxed. Like that's how like I view, like everyone's very chill. Everyone is very slow paced. There's not the rat race running around or whatever. It's just
like a little
slow
country
pace.
town. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's farming and
Which is, crazy in itself that no one will say something. I think that's a little nutty.
Yeah.
The fact that it's gone this long, and people who she obviously thought were close and she trusted have not even spoken out, not said, not even able to humanize her and say that, how well, they treated her or the relationship. It was just kept to what was the narrative that was put in the media. Like no one, it was hard enough for us to try and do that. We didn't do it because of just the circumstances, but like no one said peeped a word, like at all.
Do you guys have any questions pertaining this? Anything you need me to try to go into quickly?
Just with like, one thing that's been concerning me the most is the location where Mum's car was found. It's a very secluded road. But being out there, it is always this feeling of like someone's watching or someone's about to turn up that, makes you feel like you shouldn't be there. Is that, are you able to validate that or like give more information of like, is it constantly being watched or are they frequently going back?
There's like 2 people that go there pretty frequently, I see. And the 2 people are the people who we spoke about privately. It's like they go not necessarily to the car, but to where the towel was found. Because what they're saying is that from where the car and the towel, it's kind of like the same path, and there's like a gorge or like a cliff or something like a drop point. But then if you go further, there's like another one. And I see there's a path that these people kind of go frequently.
I don't know if you remember when we had our private reading, but one of the persons of interest for us and that Mum has identified lives on that road.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah.
Are they just traveling along there because they need to be there, or are they like purposely going back to see if anyone's disturbing?
It's a mixture. Like they it seems to me you need to go on that road to get somewhere, like to get to most places. Like it seems like fairly like a main road kind of.
Yeah.
But where the car is, from what I see, is kind of parallel to it, behind it. So it's to get to it, you have to drive off the road, but you're still parallel to like the road. And so that's why I'm saying there's like a mixture of going there just to go to like the supermarket, gas station, whatever. But then there is like the side of it, from what I see, that there is a frequent visitor and visitors. Like it seems like it's a group. Like by group, it's like 2 people, maybe 3, but it's a group of people. So I wouldn't go there if I were you. Like if you guys were to go, like I wouldn't go there unless you're with someone that can protect you.
Yeah.
Because it also seems like those people that we spoke about are aware of you too. Like they know about you. I'm sure your mom has spoken about you to them. Like it's like one of those. So just be aware. And it also, I can definitely tell you too, because your mom's showing this to me. I just want to say I'm happy that you guys are ruffling feathers right now, because I think it was so silent for so long that like people thought that it was over and done.
It would just go away.
Yeah.
That's what we've been thinking, is like they've obviously, and going back to like just the systematic stuff in Australia and everything and the politics and stuff, we've always felt along those lines.
I just want to say, guys, thank you for coming on, but also just like, thank you for doing this. It's like 4 a.m. I mean, my gosh. And we'll obviously, like we've always been staying in contact, and always, anytime there's something, I'll jump on and do like a quick reading for you guys. I always do. All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thanks so much for having us back on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on, guys. And again, the best Australian guest. We're going to have all the information, where to send any information, in the show notes. So please refer to that if you want to send anything along. And also, if you or anyone in your family is affected by a case, please send an email to connectjonathanmark@gmail.com or send me a DM at jonathanmarkmedium over at Instagram. Please do not forget to rate and review the show. It really, really helps the show grow. So please, stop what you're doing and go rate and review the show right now. All right, guys, I'll see you next week.